It's been a long overdue. I should have done this like a week ago at least. But here we are. So first off, do I start with the map or with the items? I guess I'm gonna start with the map. So, these are like the primary changes for Zaga, I'm gonna say. It's just gonna be about the gank patterns. So this is the new top lane. Which means basically now that it's symmetrical, it's kinda gonna be the same deal than when ganking the blue side when you are red side. So a gank pattern that would occur often as Zac would be going on this small, patch of ground and E from here to here, depending on the wave states, and depending on your E range. This would be a great gank pattern in some cases. But now basically it's going to be the same on the other side, although a bit different because now one of the advantages of taking this pathing is that you wouldn't expose yourself to potential vision. Whereas now, if you want to gank from the other side, either you need to enter their jungle from very much earlier, which is a little bit longer path and also more dangerous. But the thing is, yeah, now if you want to go there and gank the red side, this in the same fashion that you would use to gank the blue side, you have to go through their vision. So red side is going to be tremendously safer. Of course, it also comes down to, who has the control of this bush. And if you're even considering a gank top lane, it means that the wave is pushed enough, right? Because, I mean, if you start to E from here to here and you know you're not gonna connect your E, and you miss out on ECC and E damage, it reduces your gank opportunities a lot. Even though it can allow you for a good flank in some cases. But most of the time it's gonna be when there's a wave here. And when there's a wave here, that means your own top laner has kind of a prio. So there's more chance that he has the vision control over this bush. And like expect this bush to be warded like 100% of the times. Like both top laners are just gonna put a yellow trinket here, and when they get pinks, they will like perma put their pink here and destroy it. So like this bush will be warded in a lot of cases. Alternatively, you can like if you have a lot of haste or E level, you can E from the Baron Pit to here. This bush will probably not get warded much, I think, because vision will probably be used for this bush instead. So this bush will rarely be warded, since like they don't need to ward it to be safe, right? In theory, they could just ward the other bush. So there's the other gank pattern where you would just E in this bush, expect it to not be warded, then wait your next E, and E again. But like that's a lot of time. Overall, since the lane is safer and you already weren't ganking top a lot, at least if you've been following my games, yeah, I'm not ganking top. In most of games, I'm actually just leaving one side completely weak side without ganks, because that's how I play. Optimizing my jungle farm and just having one strong side and one weak side, and usually it's my bot lane who's strong side. So I already wasn't ganking top a lot. So now that your options have overall reduced, and that it's easier for it's easier for top laners to get info on your gank. Like they get info from way earlier than they used to. Well, overall you're just gonna gank top even less than before. The same is going to apply mid lane, because it's literally a straight nerf to Zac ganks. I guess Zac is not the most nerfed jungle, and the problem is that here it not only applies on the ganks, but also on in later part of the games when you're just contesting the mid priority. So one thing you would do a lot as Zac is to just sit in these bushes, either for ganks or for mid-wave contests, and punish whoever tries to auto the wave. So here they will be a lot safer. However, one thing to note is that there's a gank spot that I really like that still hasn't been removed. It's basically Eing from behind this wall. So if you just hug the left side of this wall, or the right side of this wall, and there's no minions right here, as long as the minions are behind this line and this line, you are not seen by the enemy team. You still have this gank opportunity, and what I love about this is that since in season 13 there was a lot of vision here, either in this bush or in the pixel bush. So this gank pathing allows you to basically dodge the wards. So it's still not removed, so I don't think... I mean, overall, it mostly nerfs, I would say, mid-game, when it will be easier for the enemies to be safe because of these bushes. Also, now for tower defense. So, like, I don't know what these paths are gonna change for Zac, but I guess for tower defense, if you just sit right here, if you're right behind this wall, you will not be seen by the wave. Also, maybe if there is only mage minions, you can sit even further without being seen. I'm not sure about this. I need to test this in game, but it will be easier to, or at least this is an additional spot for tower defense that you didn't have before, right? Like being right here and jumping from here to here, and same thing on the other side. So yeah, that's gonna be an additional way of defending your mid turrets, which is good. Like Zac is already a really good champion for tower defense. So when you're behind entering the mid game, which probably should happen to you because Zac is not the best early game champion, so it definitely happens in a lot of games, at least over 50% of the games, I would say. Yeah, if you just stand here for tower defense, it's definitely gonna be a great spot. Also, I expect this to not be warded ever. And yeah, from this side, it looks even better than this side. From my perspective, it doesn't look fully symmetrical, right? I think this side is a little bit more curvy than this side, which is more, has a stronger angle. So maybe if you're jumping from this side, the mage minions don't even see you if you're standing behind this wall. That's probably the case, actually. So we will need testing for this. And the PB is down right now, unfortunately. It's in maintenance. So yeah, interesting for tower defense. And now for the bot lane. So basically, there is a new gank opportunity here. If there's if the wave is standing here, well, what used to be unfortunately this is very oh my god, I can't show this, but yeah, I guess I'm gonna show it still. But you used to, when you had the level like 4 ranks or 5 ranks in E, you could jump from here to here if the wave was here. Now it's going to be easier to do when the wave is not fully crashed, but when, for example, it happens a lot when your support tries to freeze the wave just in front of your turret, and enemy bot lane is like, we have to push one more wave, but your support throws it just right in front of your turret. Well, if they push, basically if they greet a wave, it's going to be way easier to punish them, and you're gonna be able to punish them way earlier because you won't need that many points in your E. So I would say it's even easier on the red side than on the blue side now. Also, there is still the same gank when you're standing in the middle of this wall. Try to gank here when you have 4 or 5 points in E. This gank is still in the game. And when you're on this side, I guess you kinda have the same. because like this bush will probably be warded, and this bush as well, to be honest. So like there is a new path thing. We don't see this, but you can now enter their jungle much more easily. So if this tri-bush is not warded, like there's an easy gank, an easy flank gank, but Zac will definitely not be the best champion to profit from this change, because all the jungles without dash will highly benefit from it. So Zac is probably slightly nerfed by this, in the sense that, you know, it doesn't have an edge over other junglers to benefit from it. But yeah, of course you will be able to flank more easily. Actually, it's going to be happening like every single game. The red team bot lane just can't play with this new map. They haven't changed the blue team, but the red team is like, they can't play here, I think. They just imagine playing against Elise as the red team and not hugging your turret. Like, it's impossible. Like any early game jungler, as the red team, you need to hug your turret permanently. Like, have a very deep vision. Okay, now for the items. On voit pas mon curseur. Ah. Okay, well. All this time you weren't seeing my mouse. I guess I inted. It's alright, we're gonna do without the cursor. Now for the items. So, the item that interests me the most here is the MR Sunfire, basically, Hollow Radiance. Because of this passive exclusively. So this is another MR item. Zac already has a lot of MR items that are really good. So another option, which is like probably not very useful, all the way until I saw this passive. Unfortunately, it's an MR item, so you won't be able to build like every single game. It will always be situational, because you always need armor, but not necessarily always need MR items. So it's gonna depend on the enemy team comp. But depending on what this exactly does, it's gonna enhance your jungle clear by like tremendously. Because now, if I read this passive correctly, and I want to kill a raptor camp, my guess is that when every single small raptor dies, they are going to create a reaction chain, and it's basically gonna explode the camp, because the big raptor will receive like 30 plus 3.5 bonus HP. But by all the little raptors dying. So, and that's gonna be the same thing for the Krugs. You kill the medium Krug, then it spawns 2 Krugs, and the big Krug is gonna receive 3 times this amount of damage. Same thing for the wolves. So if you can build it, it looks OP for clear speed, really. And that's literally what tanks were missing in Season 13. Like a good option to clear the jungle. And now you have it. Unfortunately, it's an MR item, as I said. It's only 40 magic resist, it's mostly health. Which means as long as there are like if the enemy team has, you know, AP mid laner and AP top laner or AP support, something like that, maybe you can just get it early game. Like ideally, you're playing against 3 AP champions and you can rush it first item, which allows you to have a good clearing speed as your first item. But of course, it will not be every game since it's an MR item. So I guess now, next season, season 14, you will either take Sunfire or this, depending on the game, and that will make the MR matchups, I mean the AP matchups, just way better for Zac. You will pray for the enemy team to have a lot of AP champions every single game just to buy this item. Of course, like, I feel I have to misread this passive because it looks kind of weird that it can create reaction chains when you're killing like small enemies. But if it's really the case, then like you're gonna just one-shot your camps. So like it looks really interesting. Mm, apart from this, yeah, I don't think this is going to be buildable. Unfortunately, it's an armor item. Gives haste, which is like this is the only armor in the game that gives haste, actually, right? Because Randuin's doesn't give haste anymore. Randuin's is like 400 health, 60 armor, if I'm correct. Or maybe I'm tripping. I just need to check this real quick. Yeah, Randuin's 400 health, 60 armor, so no haste. So the item is like 100 gold more expensive, but at least has some haste. Unfortunately, the passive is really bad, especially on Zac. Every 7 seconds, you deal magic damage around you. Healing's 175% of the damage dealt. Like, this is good for conquer champions by pretty much. And Zac is in one of those. So, yeah, I don't think this is gonna be really useful. But maybe I'm wrong. Like, of course, this will need some testing. But it doesn't look like an item adapted for Zac. Like, if it's good on Zac, it's going to be super OP on champions. Like, I don't know, any champion, any tank-ish champion that goes Conqueror. It's just gonna be OP. Or any champion that just fights for a long time. Maybe like Sion. Champions like that. So yeah, I don't think this is gonna be good, but maybe I'm wrong. Now this another MR item. So like we're gonna just have too many MR options here. Hollow Radiance. If you need any MR option, it's always going to be Hollow Radiance, I think. Because it's just like the passive looks just too good for junglers. You still have the magical mask. Sorry, the abyssal mask. That's like the best MR item in terms of gold efficiency. And you still have Spirit Visage, and now you have this on top of it. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a Zac item. If you ever want to build this, just build the Spirit Visage instead. Or like any other MR item, to be honest. Unless it's unbalanced, of course I have no idea what this means in game. Unless the item is unbalanced, then you will build it for the first patch, but as soon as this item is balanced, it's just not gonna be an item for Zac. Now you got this, so this is pretty much stone plate, right? 5% move speed. Like this is stone plate, but worse. I mean, I don't know, but it's you don't need move speed on Zac, so we're passing on that. Now Jak'Sho. Jak'Sho looks really good. Like the passive looks OP because you only need to fight 5 seconds now to get your 25% bonus resistance. So it changes everything because 5 seconds is definitely attainable. And actually, as Zac, you probably start the fight with CC. So you basically already reach 3 seconds after, like, for your CC. So you only need 2 additional seconds to get your stacks. So it really looks good on the paper. Unfortunately, it's really expensive. But, like, I need to try this. And I think it's going to be OP. And I think Riot will nerf it too late. Like, they will keep the item OP for a long time. I don't know why. I have this feeling. But whatever. It's my intuition is that the item is going to be OP on every single champion. It's going to be Jak'Sho meta. Everybody is going to build it. And they're not going to nerf it immediately. But maybe I'm wrong. That's just a prediction. It looks interesting. Just it's a little bit too expensive. Deadman's Plate, we don't care. Force of Nature, same thing. We don't care. Another MR option. We already have too many of them. Warmugs, we don't care. It's not a Zac item. You already have your passive with your blobs. Now Heartsteel. This is a laner item still. You need to attack champions. That's not for you. So Sunfire hasn't changed. Oh, actually, it's 50 health less. Wait. So it actually got nerfed. But then, Hollow Radiance, oh, it's 100 gold more expensive. Man, when you can build Hollow Radiance, like, your games are going to be way better. Way better, man. Hollow Radiance is... Imagine if you just swapped it and you made Hollow Radiance an armor item. Yeah, an armor item, and you made Sunfire a Nemo item. Like, that would be so great, but whatever. Randuns, they nerfed the armor. And they buffed this, because it used to be 25%. So, it's an overall buff, I want to say. I'm not even sure about this, because it's a buff against crit champions. It's a nerf against everything else. So I get, depending on the game, it's either a buff or a nerf, but I think it's an overall buff. Now Gauntlet doesn't look good. Like, the stats are just too bad. Did you guys see this? How underwhelming the item is? You literally lose 200 health, 5 armor over Randuns just for a random passive to do a little bit more damage. Also, it's gonna, if it's ever built, it's of course on champions that don't have a lot of base AD anyway. So like it's dealing ridiculous amount of damage. This item is going to be so underpowered. Like, nobody is going to build it. It's crazy underpowered. Frozen Heart is only 2,300 gold. Yeah, it probably hasn't changed actually. Right now it must be 2,500 gold, right? And anyway, it's a mana item, so we don't care. And that's about it. I just want to add a last thing. It's Liandry's, but where is it? Yeah, you probably will build Liandry's if it's not an Hollow Radiance game. Because if you don't build Hollow Radiance, you're gonna face the same problem than Season 13, which is very low clear speed. And as we saw during the early game with the maps change, you're even gonna farm more because you're gonna have even less gank opportunities. So anybody that is still not on the page and still does an AFK farm on Zac 3 level 6, now you will have to do it, or like it's gonna become even worse. But as a byproduct, you need additional clear speed if you're farming even more. Also, oh, maybe they nerfed the camp XP actually. So maybe I'm saying bullshit and you will permagank because they nerfed gold and XP from the camps. But anyway, I don't know what will happen. We'll need further testing. But if you don't build Hollow Radiance and you still have a very bad clearing, this looks like Demonic from early Season 13, basically. Because, you know, burn for 2% maximum health magic damage. It deals insane amount of damage to camps if it's not capped. So unless they cap the damage for junglers, which is probably gonna, like, if it happens, it's gonna take Riot some months to do it. It's definitely gonna be a really good clearing option. And also the item is not that bad overall. Like, it's basically all Liandry's. So yeah, we'll see. But this is probably going to be a buildable option. Okay, that's about it. Now, let's play another game. If you have any question, now is the time to ask. Either on Twitch or YouTube. You can write some comments.